Now I'm going to tell you all why when I say I don't give a fuck, I really don't give a fuck. I have a 27-year-old son that I adopted. At the age of 25, he was diagnosed with an illness that has no cure. This illness is eating up the muscles in his body that will never grow back. It's eating up some of the lungs, some of his intestines, and he has no immune system whatsoever. Absolutely none. He was scheduled for chemotherapy, but because of the virus, they had to put it off. And hopefully in August, he'll be able to get his 2 sessions of chemotherapy. They're still not sure if August would be safe enough for him to go into a hospital. So what I'm living for right now is for my son. One that I've cared for 5 months of age. Whose family he knows. He's not related to me until I adopted him 2 years ago. It's hard to sit here and watch him not be able to lift things and have to maneuver his body and his arms and his hands in a way for him to do homework because he majors in animation. It's hard to know that he should be getting chemotherapy now. And they're saying possibly August. A cold to him can turn into pneumonia. The treatments that he gets, the side effects are meningitis, which calls for a 4-day stay in the hospital. He got pneumonia, which was another 4-day stay in the hospital. And if you ever slept on a cot in the hospital, you understand how uncomfortable it is. So this back and forth, I'm not doing anymore. I have a son that I love with everything I have in my heart. I will die for him. I will give my life for him. The only thing that stopped me from going to jail is because my mother sat me down and said how much it would hurt him for me to be arrested and for me to go to jail. I'm a Leo. I have a very, very bad temper. I black out. And when I black out, I don't think about consequences. But this young man has brought me to the point of sitting and thinking before I act. So for those of you that have a heart, for those of you that have compassion, for those of you that know that this gift of life, I ask for your prayers, your positive energy. If I lose this young man, I'll lose myself. And when I say that, I mean the things that I would do would have me in jail for life. He has stopped me many times from hurting people very, very bad. He's about the only one that can calm me down. And when I look in his eyes, I know that the consequences behind my actions, my son wouldn't be able to care for himself. But by the grace of the Most High, I have a large family. I have family that consists of doctors. So if anything were to happen to me, they have full guardianship over him. And to show you just how this world is, when he was diagnosed and I tried to get him in the hospital, they told me that he had to wait 3 months because he had just gotten into a health plan. My niece is married to a Caucasian, a Jewish man. And I called him on the phone and I explained the symptoms that my son was experiencing. And he diagnosed it over the phone. At the time, they both were working at the hospital in Atlanta. Now they're both back in Chicago on the front line at the University of Chicago. Because he is Caucasian and Jewish, he asked me what was his doctor's name. This was on a Friday. He emailed his doctor. I'm sorry, this was on a Saturday. He emailed his doctor. And all of a sudden on Sunday, they had a bed ready for him. We're not free. And we're not cared about. And the hospitals in Chicago, because we're so segregated, don't have the equipment and don't have the staffing that's needed in black areas. The University of Chicago is a very good hospital. And his case was so bad, they didn't think he was going to live. So this arguing back and forth and picking teams, I'm on here because I can't stand to see someone take advantage of another person or of their own people. While on one hand, I'm in a group fighting for reparations, and on the other hand, I'm in a sector that hates one another and that has allowed a racist to come into the sector and disrespect us. So we're not free. But this pandemic, more and more content creators need to do research on it. We had the Tuskegee experiment, which happened where? Down south, where they opened up Atlanta, where men today are still suffering because it was passed genetically through the family, and the reparations they received was little or nothing. So I hope that people that have any type of compassion for any human being reaches out and helps. When you see a child that's hungry, we have these kids out on the street without masks, without gloves, and they're at the grocery stores, and they're trying to make money by just putting your groceries in the car for you. Help them out. When you see those that are mentally ill or are on drugs and all they're asking for is something to eat, take them in a restaurant and purchase them something to eat. Because in the final days, you're going to be judged on your deeds. On what did you contribute to this world? It doesn't matter what religion you title yourself. There's only one Most High who created the heavens and the earth. No man, woman, or child can judge you. And I know everyone wants to clear their name when it is spoken upon. I hate liars. And I hate thieves. And I rarely use the word hate because it's such a strong word. So when I was posting to you all about the events in Chicago closing down, I knew it was going to be hateful, miserable people that have nothing in their lives. That if you ask them right now, what have you contributed to this world? What can you say you have done to help someone other than yourself? They couldn't answer you. But the Most High has made it to where you have to be still. And rather than having on the television and music and YouTube, you're asked to be still and know thyself. And you all are afraid to know who you are and accept who you are, both good and bad, and to be able to forgive not only those that have hurt you in the past, but those you have hurt. But it's time for Black people to unify, to learn how to grow their own food, to learn horticulture, to stop being dependent on the white man to care for you, to learn self-survival skills. But all this hate, I don't care who Jay Wilson sleeps with. If he sleeps with a monkey, I don't care. I don't care about somebody that feels like they gotta have some type of power and sit up and cock a gun and slash and threaten someone's life. We 20 years behind on where we should be. Any of you all that has lost a loved one, that's lost a friend to this virus, you're right. Only 5 people at a time can attend a funeral. Here in Chicago, they're just letting 5 people in. That's it. And my neighbor had 6 children. All of them lived out of state except for one. They couldn't even travel here to say goodbye to their mother. So the next time you pick up or you go on a computer and you feel the hatred growing in you, because this sector is negative. It's very negative. I've said things which is a part of me that I have to deal with. But sooner or later, we're going to have to unify and start caring for one another and stop scamming and stealing and lying and all these false dreams and hopes, and stand in your shit and be honest for once in your lives. Again, peace and blessings to the real ones out there. Anyone who has a family member, a child that is sick, I pray with you and I pray for you. Again, just stack up on everything. I have my brother out now at the health food store, stacking up on every vitamin, every protein that I'm able now to stack cans down in the basement of vegetables, of beans, which has the highest protein. We don't eat cereal here. We don't eat fried foods. And because of my son's condition, he has to have red meat for protein. But start loving on one another. And let all the hate cease. It's time now. The time is here. And for those of you who don't see it, again, your eyes are closed and you're not going to survive. Peace and blessings.